but he could play a guitar like a ringing a bell. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny be good. Hello folks, in this tutorial I'm going to teach how I play rock and roll and rockabilly in the key of G. You may have seen my tutorial number 1 in which I explain how to play this kind of music in the key of A, which is a great key for rock and roll and rockabilly, but so is G. And sometimes you might find that some of the songs you want to sing and play are a little bit too high for your singing range in A. So if you shift them down in pitch a couple of semitones to G, that might be just what you need. When I play Johnny B Goode with a band, I usually play it in the key of A. But when I'm sitting round at home with my acoustic guitar, or I take my guitar along to a party to play for folks, then I like to play it in the key of G like I did at the beginning of this video. That's also true for Carl Perkins' song Blue Suede Shoes, which I play like this. Well, it's a 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. Well, you can do anything but off of my blue suede shoes. When I'm playing rock and roll and rockabilly in the key of A, it sounds like that. Most of the sound comes from the bottom strings. It's a deeper sound. But when I play in the key of G, I play all or most of the strings, so it's got a kind of fuller, strummier sound. So, how do we play rock and roll and rockabilly in the key of G? As I explain in my tutorial number 1, this kind of music often uses a 12-bar blues chord progression. There are various versions of the 12-bar blues chord progression, but a fairly standard one in the key of G goes like this. You start off with 4 bars of G, you move to C for 2 bars, come back to G for 2 bars, you have 1 bar of D, 1 bar of C, and 2 bars of G. Or sometimes at the end you might have 1 bar of G and then 1 bar of D. When you finish off with a bar of D like that, some people call it a turnaround because it seems to indicate to the listener that the chord progression is about to turn around and start all over again. Of course you wouldn't do that at the very end of the song, you'd stay on a G. This music is in 4/4 time, so it has 4 beats in every bar. Let's start off by looking at the strumming pattern that I use. This is what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm strumming up and down all the time. I'm hitting the strings with down strokes on the beats, on the numbers, and up strokes on the ands in between the beats. And I'm hitting the strings a little bit harder on beats 2 and 4, what are sometimes known as the backbeat. Here it is more slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so that's the strumming pattern that I use. The chords. There are different ways of playing open chords, aren't there? An open G can be played like this. You put your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. All the other strings are left open. But when playing these rock and roll chord riffs that I'm going to show you, I suggest that you play a G chord like this. You play that note on the 3rd fret of the 1st string with your 4th finger, your pinky, little finger. You play the note on the 2nd fret of the 5th string with your 2nd finger this time. And you put your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. play your G like that, it means that you can move these two fingers into this position and play the second chord in the G chord riff. So what I'm doing is I'm moving my second finger from the 5th string, just over 1 string, onto the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and I'm dropping my first finger down onto the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And I'm damping that 5th string with the 3rd finger here. It reaches over and just stops it ringing out. Now you could call that chord a C with a G bass, or you could call it a G6 suspended 4, but I wouldn't worry about what to call it. It's the 2nd chord in the chord riff. And you play that 2nd chord on beats 2 and 4 in the bar, on the backbeat, and then you lift it off immediately. So it goes like this along with the strumming pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's the G chord riff. Let's have a look now at the C chord riff. You'll need to play your C chord like this. Put your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, leave the 3rd string open, put your 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then you have an open 1st string. If you can, damp the 6th string by touching it with your thumb like that to stop it ringing out. So that's the 1st chord in the chord riff. As before, on beats 2 and 4, the backbeat, you play a different chord. It's that chord. Like before, I wouldn't worry about what that chord's called. It's just the 2nd chord in this chord riff. And what you do is this. You drop your little finger, your pinky, down onto the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and you move your 2nd finger over 1 string onto the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And played along with the strumming pattern, it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So that's the C chord riff. Let's have a look now at the D chord riff. Play your D like that. So you've got your 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 1st string, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 2nd string, 1st finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string. You've got an open 4th string, an open 5th string, damp the 6th string with your thumb again. Now I explain how to play this chord riff in tutorial number 1, but I'll show you again. That's the 1st chord. The 2nd chord shape is this. You simply drop your little finger, your pinky, your 4th finger, down onto the 4th fret of the 3rd string. So that's the D chord riff. Now let's put those 3 chord riffs together in a 12-bar blues chord progression. I'm going to play at a fairly moderate tempo, and I'm going to give you a count in so you can practice along with me. We're going to play a straight rhythm like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... This time, on the 4th bar in the chord progression, instead of a plain G, I'm I'm going to ask you to play a G7. So, simple chord change there. That's the last of the first 4 bars of G. When you play a G7 like that in the chord progression, it just seems to indicate to the listener that you're going to change chords up to the next chord, which is a C. Right, make your G chord shape. Are you ready? Let's go then. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. G7. Round again. Finish off here. Okay, so that's the 12-bar blues with a straight rhythm. Now let's play it with a bit of a swing, a bit of a shuffle, make it sound a little bit more rockabilly. Let's speed it up a little bit as well. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to finish off now by playing one of my favourite Little Richard songs, Slippin and Slidin, which I always play in the key of G. It's based on a 12-bar blues chord progression, but there are some stops in it, as you'll see, and I give it a little bit of an introduction where I start with 1 bar of D, 1 bar of C, 1 bar of G, and 1 bar of D. I learnt how to do that from Sleepy LaBeef. So, if you want to play along with me, I'll give you a counting. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Slipping and a sliding, keeping and a hiding, been told a long time ago. Slipping and a sliding, keeping and a hiding, been told a long time ago. I've been told, baby, you've been bold, I won't be a fool no more. Oh, be conniver, never put a driver, done got hit to your drive. Oh, be conniver, never put a driver, done got hit to your drive. Slipping and a sliding, peeping and a hiding, won't be a fool no more. Slipping and a sliding, peeping and a hiding, been told a long time ago. Slipping and a sliding, peeping and a hiding, been told a long time ago. I've been told, baby, you've been bold, I won't be a fool no more. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or queries, let me know.